Hello, and welcome back to Pocket Science. Today's video, we're going to be looking at a topic that was requested by one of my viewers. So thanks for leaving a comment and giving me some great ideas. If you have an idea for a video, make sure to leave it in the comments as well, and maybe you will be the inspiration for the next video. Today's video is about the sequencing or the order in which you play your card draw. So in the game of Pocket, card draw has three main effects. One, it helps you find a card sooner. 2, it reduces the number of cards left in your deck. And 3, it increases your options of cards to play, or it increases your hand size. The order in which you play your cards directly impacts the percentage of games that you can win. It affects the likelihood that you can find the card you need right now, and it affects the likelihood of you finding key cards in the future. We're going to go over a couple of the most common decisions you will have to make in Pokemon Pocket. And those are, which do I play first, Pokeball or Professor's Research? And do I play a Copycat or a Professor's Research this turn? Both of these common decisions usually come in your starting hand when you've recently drawn a fresh 5 cards and are likely to have 2 cards that help you draw cards. We're going to start with which comes first, Pokeball or Professor's Research? And the answer depends entirely on what card you need in that moment. Are you looking for a basic Pokemon, or are you looking for any other type of card, either an evolution Pokemon or an item card, something like that? If you are looking for a basic Pokemon, you want to play Professor's Research first and then the Pokeball last. If you're looking for anything else, think a rare candy or a Charizard or any other card that isn't a basic Pokemon. You want to play the Pokeball first and then the Professor's Research. The rule of thumb here is you want to wait to play the card with the best chance of finding your target last. So, if you're looking for that basic Pokemon, you want to play Professor's Research first because it might find you one of the other basic Pokemon that could prevent your Pokeball from being successful. And then you want to play your Pokeball last, when the Pokeball has the highest chance of finding your basic Pokemon that you are looking for. And it's exactly the opposite for when you're looking for something besides a basic Pokemon. You want to play the Pokeball first because it's going to get something out of your deck that you're not looking for, so that when you play Professor's Research second, both of those card draws are drawing from a smaller deck. Next up, we're going to talk about what happens when you have both a Professor's Research and a Copycat in your hand. These are the two most powerful draw supporter cards in the entire game, and it's hard to know which one you want to play, as they're both high-value plays. Well, let's look at the two. Professor's Research is always helpful. Copycat is more risky. Copycat depends on your opponent's hand size, which is largely outside of your control. If you play Professor's Research, you're now going to have a big hand with Copycat in it. That means your Copycat that you want to play next turn is going to have less value, because your hand is going to be larger. Whereas playing Copycat will shuffle that Professor's Research, which is always valuable, back into the deck, so you can find it later. Copycat gives you a higher chance of finding a specific card this turn. So here's the rule of thumb. Because of all of those reasons above, Copycat should be the default play when you have both Professor's Research and Copycat in your hand, unless your opponent's hand size is small, like 0 to 2 cards, or you have one piece of a combo and only need one more, such as you have a rare candy in your hand and you're just looking for the Stage 2 Pokemon. You don't want to throw away your rare candy. You want to play Professor's Research to try to find that Stage 2 Pokemon. Or finally, if your hand size is bigger than your opponent's hand size, you don't want to put more cards into your deck than you are pulling out of it. Lastly, let's talk about some tips so that you can get the most out of your Copycats. There are 3 factors that affect how powerful your Copycat is. The first is the number of cards in your deck. The second is the number of cards in your hand, and these are equally important because your deck and your hand are going to be shuffled together, and then you're going to draw cards from that new deck that you just formed. So the fewer cards that are in that new deck, the higher likelihood you are to find the cards you're looking for. And the final factor is the number of cards in your opponent's hand. This is actually the most important factor of all. If you want to predict how likely you are to find the card or cards you're looking for from a copycat, the best way to predict it is by looking at your opponent's hand size. This actually matters more than how many cards are back in that new deck you are shuffling together. So let's look at each of these individually. The number of cards in your deck. In order to maximize this, you want to play any Pokeballs or any non-supporter effects that let you search out playable cards from your deck. And the playable is the important part there. If you draw out a basic Pokemon, but your bench is full, that wasn't very helpful then. You'd rather just have the Pokeball still in your deck. Next, the number of cards in your hand. Play any cards out of your hand before playing Copycat. This can be things like items, like Pokeball we just discussed. Tool cards is a great one. Putting tool cards down helps you get rid of cards that are going to be shuffled back into that new deck. Other Pokemon, so maybe like an evolution Pokemon or basic Pokemon. And finally, stadium cards can all be played from your hand pretty consistently. So decks with more universally playable cards, such as those tools, Pokemon, and certain items and stadium cards, will get more value out of Copycat. Another way to say that is the more cards you have in your deck that you can play on a turn is going to keep your hand size smaller and going to get you more value out of Copycat, is going to make your opponent's Copycat less valuable, and also is going to make you less susceptible to things like Mars or Red Card cutting your hand down. And finally, the number of cards in your opponent's hand. Like I said earlier, this is the most important factor, but it's actually the one you have the least control over. Really, the only way to help clog up your opponent's hand is to use Pokemon that prevent them from playing cards. Chingling is by far the best example, as it prevents them from playing items. This can get crucial item cards stuck in their hand and can prevent them from doing things like playing a Pokeball and then benching that basic Pokemon. And so if you're able to Chingling lock them, you can get their hand size up and make your Copycat more valuable. In theory, Gengar and Gengar EX also have a similar effect, preventing your opponent from playing their supporter cards. However, in practice, you're probably playing your Copycats to get out your Stage 2 Gengar, not the other way around. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you learned something, and if you did, a like and a subscription would be very much appreciated. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.